Hello everyone, welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. The entire deck list for the Round Table, or Round the Table, I guess is what it's called, have been revealed. So we're going to take a look at them, talk about the cards, and just get the ideas going with what they could be used for, because some of these cards definitely will be seeing play in Constructed. First, we're going to start with the Mechanologist cards and Professor Tech Lovison. Professor Tech Lovison is a 4 intellect, 20 health young hero. He has the ability Evos cost 1 resource less to play for each opposing hero, and you may play Evos from your Banish Zone. Probably not going to be as good as the normal young Tech Lovison in Blitz, but in UPF, which is what these decks are designed for, this seems like a pretty good hero. In these decks, there will be 3 new weapons. All of them will be cold foil. 1 weapon, which is the 1 reprint, will be rainbow foil. Techlo Blaster. If you want it, it will be cold foil. It's just 3 for 2. It's a gun. Seems okay if your deck wants a gun and can't play any of the other guns. Specifically, probably Dash Database and possibly Dash IO, because we currently don't know if they're the same. But you can like swing with this. If they take it, you could like instant speed in a powder keg to blow up an equipment they block with that turn. That's really the only use for this, other than the specific equipment and the specific evos for this deck that pump it. So could be okay. Probably won't be the most important option for a lot of constructed decks, but I think is still a pretty good option. This deck comes with the Proto equipment for its base equipment. The Proto equipment are the ones you just get in limited for free. I don't know why these are like this. I think this might be a problem in February right now, but there's no arms and there are 2 heads, and the 1 head is the one from the set and not from the decks. So I think that's an issue. This should be the gloves, but it's the 0 block ones, which I think is fine. They don't want to give the 1 block ones, and also if you block with the 1 block ones, with the nature of these Evo equipment, these have battle worn. They're going to be staying and play the whole game. It's not like they're going to go away. So you don't want to lose your base equipment before you go into the Evos. So it's good that these are the no block ones, because so a new player can like learn to just keep them around instead of blocking with them randomly. For the Evos in this deck, it's the ones I already talked about in the last video, where they pump up your Techlo Blaster. They're all 3 cost 2 blocks at blue. They all have battle worn. They all just go on a base. They don't have base themselves. The helmet lets you attack anyone with Techlo Blaster. The chest piece makes it cost 1 less for each opponent. The gloves give it +1 for each opponent. And the shoes give it go again. So just helps you in a 3-4 player game, 3 opponent game, to use whatever with this Techlo Blaster. Just shoot it for 5 for free at early, and for a little less late, but at that point you're going to be so far ahead probably. Next is some of the reds. Apocalypse Automaton is one we already talked about in the last video. It can attack up to X players, where X is the number of Evos you have, and you need to have at least 1 equipped to play it. Probably only when we're good in UPF. Another thing about these decks is there are 2 of each of these cards, with 1 exception for Guardian that we will talk about when we go to Guardian. So even the new Majestics, all of the Evos, the Apocalypse, even these new block cards, which we'll talk about, you get 2 of each. So if you wanted to, you and a friend could buy 3 of them and then split the 3rd one, and then each of you have a playset of each card for Constructed. So I really like that. I'm glad they went with that approach of having 2 of each card always, other than equipment obviously, but they're one-ofs. Next is Liquid Cooled Mayhem. This one I think actually could see play in Constructed. This is a 4 cost, 6 power, 3 block at red, and it makes it cost 1 less for each Evo you have equipped. So even with 1 Evo, a 3 for 6 really isn't terrible. And later, this can just be a 1 or even a 0 for 6. So this card just gets in a lot of free damage. Mechanical Strength is one I already talked about. It gets plus X for extra number of Evos you have in play. A little similar to the Liquid Cooled Mayhem, I really like this card. With 1 Evo, it is just a 3 for 6, which is still strong. At multiple Evos, it can be a 3 for 9, which is really crazy. I think this card as well will probably also see play inside of Teklovicin, just because it's a high power card. Next, we have a reprint of Overloop. I'm not really going to talk about the reprints, I'll just say what the reprints are. This is the red one. Reprint of Red Throttle. We have a new card called Underloop. Underloop is just Overloop, but for the 1 for 4 cost stat line at red. It is boost, and when this hits, you put it on the bottom, similar to what Overloop does, just, of course, 1 less cost and 1 less power. We have a reprint of Red 0 to 60, a reprint of Red Zipper Hit, a new card called Firewall. Firewall is a new card type called Block. Block was originally revealed with the Guardians Chivalry cards, but blocks, pretty much, they are D-Reacts. Just you block with them like a normal card. So you do them during the normal block step, but they have like D-React stat lines to where they're like just block. So Firewall is at red is a 4 block, so it's literally Sync Below stat line. This deck comes with it Rainbow, and they're the same Sync Below stat line of 4 at red, 3 at yellow, and 2 at blue. Firewall says, when this defends, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an Evo, put it on the top, otherwise put it on the bottom. This is kinda just like the pack call that Brute got in the Dorinthia versus Rhinar decks, where when you block with it, you reveal the top card. If it's a 6 power, keep it on top. If not, bottom it. This is a little better in Mechanologist, since you want to have the Evo on top so you can banish it with boost and then play it from banish. I think this card will not only be good in this deck for that reason of just being able to play the Evos from banish, but also really good in Teklovicin because you want to be banishing those Evos to use his ability, so Firewall can be an easy block to let you set up an Evo so you can boost it away into your banish. As well as it's pretty much a D-React stat line, so really good. We have a reprint of Yellow Throttle, Yellow Zipper Hit. We have the Yellow Firewall that we already talked about. We have a blue Liquid Cooled Mayhem, a blue Mechanical Strength, a blue Throttle reprint, and a blue Firewall. Something I wish was in the deck was maybe the yellows of the Liquid Cooled Mayhem and the Mechanical Strength. I'm not sure if these ones are in the actual set. These two do make sense to be in the set, but I'm not sure yet because we don't have the whole set revealed. And also Underloop, even though it probably won't see play at yellow or blue, could be nice to have in rainbow. But other than that, I think the Mechanologist deck seems really strong. It has really good synergy for just a multiple person game. The Evo equipment that it does play in combination with the Teklo Blaster gives you a lot of flexibility in those higher player games, as well as Apocalypse Automaton definitely makes sense in more player games. Other than that, it just seems like a sound boost deck that has Evo endgame of once you set up your Evos, you want to be playing the Evo upgrade attacks more than the boost attacks, but the boost attacks can help you set up the Evos with the hero's ability alongside Firewall. So, really good deck. There are 20 cards here, 2 of each. I guess it's a 45 card deck. 46 card deck? I don't know. Because I don't count the equipment. 40 card main board. This is a 40 card main board. Really nice, 2 of each card if you get this. I think you'll be happy. I think this is the most sound deck. That's not true. Guardian and Ninja are pretty good, but this is the most good in UPF deck. I think this is the best UPF deck, and I think it comes with a lot of synergies if you wanted to play Mechanologist, so this is a good deck here. Next, we'll be talking about the Guardian deck. Brevant Civic Protector is a 4 intellect, 20 health guardian young hero. He has the ability, you may have any number of chivalry in your deck. That is a card we will talk about later. And whenever you protect another hero, you create a might token. Protect is another new thing. We will take a look at it when we take a look at the shield that comes with this deck. I think Brevant's really cool. Another hero that wants to fit the UPF theme. That's kind of the three themes of the new heroes, though, is they want to be around multiple people. These, I think, will be really nice when we get PvE. I think Teklovison might be a little worse since that specifies opponents, and we don't know how opponents will work in PvE, but because you want to be using your cards to block for other people, this seems a little better in PvE than it does in Ultimate Pit Fight, but we'll be looking at that later. This is also the first time we see a might token. A might token is just +1 power. That's it. Just a courage token. I'm pretty sure. Next is the weapon. Hammer of Havenhold is pretty much just the normal one-handed hammer that people are playing now. It's a 3 cost to attack, 3 power. If you have a chivalry in your pitch, it gets +1. Chivalry we'll talk about later. I think that's the last card in this list. But a good weapon since we have to run a shield, and it makes sense with Brevant because you're going to be playing a lot of chivalry. Bastion of Duty says it's a 2, or first it's a 2 cost offhand, and it says you may defend any hero attacked by an opponent with this, and then it has temper, so a direct upgrade, I guess, to Steel Braid Buckler, since it just has more words on it. Is it better? No, because you're never using the Protect and Constructed, but if you don't have a cold foil Steel Braid Buckler, I'm pretty sure this is cold foil. So, good for you. Next is Civic Peak. Civic Peak. All of these equipment, by the way, are 2-block temper, so I don't have to read that every time. So Civic Peak is the helmet. It says when it defends, another target hero draws a card. Probably is too niche to see playing Constructed. Helps you with that assistance playstyle. I'm drawing a big blank. What is it called in Magic? I don't remember. I haven't played against one in a long time. But helps your other players. Again, probably going to be better in PvE than it is in UPF. Civic Duty gives a Vigor token. Vigor is +1 resource at the start of their turn. Kind of like a Seismic Surge that any deck can use, pretty much. This is definitely the weakest piece, I think, mainly because it has to compare to Tunic and Tech Plating. But still makes sense for the deck. Civic Guide gives a Might token. We had talked about Might tokens when we talked about the hero. And Civic Steps. Finally, Guardian has legs. You thought I was going to say all these equipment kind of suck, didn't you? Well, this one is actually kind of broken. For the longest time, Guardian has wanted any shoes at all. They play Iron Rot. Obviously, they play Nilrin shoes because they don't have shoes. And sometimes they played Mage Master boots to play like Tome or Showtime with Go Again. But finally, we can have a Guardian shoe that's actually super duper good. Civic Steps gives a hero a Quicken token and also his 2-block temper. Does the Quicken token matter in most matchups? Probably not. You'll probably be using this if you're playing against a Go wide deck. Most of their things have Go Again anyway. If you're playing against a deck like Azalea, that's a Go Tall deck. Yes, Azalea can throw multiple arrows if she's set up for it. If she had one in Arsenal already and she can load another one with her bow, it's not guaranteed. And sometimes decks will just start with the Go Again card anyway, and they eat the Quicken. And this just gives you an extra 2 health for a Quicken that probably doesn't matter. The only decks that I could see this mattering against are Briar, who is Living Legend, Fi, if he starts with the Fi and Katsu, if they start with like a Snatch or like a weird hand, and Lexi, but she'll be gone soon, and Lexi could just choose +1, right? So you're blocking an extra 2 health, you're giving them +2 throughout the game. It's pretty much the same thing, and you get to block more breakpoints. And so, like, really the only one, since Lexi's also going to be gone soon, is probably Fi in the long run, and Katsu, so they can start with, like, Fi can start with a non-starter red, like a Snatch, or Katsu could start with, like, a Gust Wave. But really, that's it. Maybe in Living Legend format, these won't be as good, but for Constructed, most of the time, this card will be absolutely insane and near essential, I think, for a lot of Guardian decks. Next, moving on to the actual cards in the deck. Colossal Bearing is a 4-cost red, 8 power, 3 block with a new mechanic, Tower. Tower says if this card has 13 or more power, it gains the following effect. Colossal Bearing gains, when this hits, destroy an equipment they control with 1 or less block. This is probably the best one of the 3 tower cards. 4 tower cards, 3 tower cards. That one is Crush. Of the 3 tower cards, because, hey, you pump this with one of the cards in this deck that's really good, and this comes down for 13, they don't block it, their Tunic, gone. Their Furnace they blocked once with, gone. Their Spellbound Creepers, gone. Anything 1 block or less, destroyed. This card is crazy. I think you'll see this in Guardian, especially if we see a Pump Guardian like this deck wants to be. There's a lot of Aura and Pump Guardian support. I think we will definitely see that more, and this card will be an insane include inside of those decks. Next is Lay Down the Law. Lay Down the Law is a 3 for 7. It is Tower to make defending equipment have -1 block while defending it. Or, sorry, non-equipment defending it have -1 block. Makes it hard to block. It's just damage. That's really it. Then Smack of Reality is a 5 for 9 that on hit, if you have 13 or more power, destroys all aura tokens they control. So not going to be as good versus something like a Prism, because the shields will eat the damage before, but will be good versus something like a Vincent or something like a Viserai, who's trying to set up a lot of enchants. Next is a brand new aura, Crashdown. Crashdown is a red 3-cost, 3-block aura. It says at the start of your turn, destroy this. Then the next Guardian attack you play this turn gets +6. Easy effect to turn on Tower, which it turns it on for all 3 of the Tower cards at red. And even without them, super good with Crush, because you pump up a big attack. Really good in general, because 3 for 6 is pretty much a 3 for 6. It's like it's a Sluggism that you can set up a turn early. So this card's really nice. Earthlore Empowerment is the same card, but 1 less power pump, and it has a Seismic Surge added onto it. Really, really cool. I really like the art on this card too. I hope the next Earth Guardian we get is the person on this card. My only gripe with this card is it isn't an Earth card, and it's an Earthlore card. So that sucks, but other than that, super good art, super good card. I think this is better than Crashdown, mainly because it comes with the Seismic Surge. It's the same cost. I'd rather have 1 less cost to play my next thing than 1 extra power. So Earthlore Empowerment is really, really good. Next is Boulder Drop. This is a brand new Crush card. It's a 3-cost for 6 at yellow. And then there's the Crush effect of when you deal 4 or more damage. They put a card from their hand on top of their deck. I think this one's actually going to be a playable card at blue, and the blue one is in the deck. So you'll easily be able to get the blues since you get 2 per deck. So I think this one might be a really good include for something like Bravo, where it's just another crush effect that, if they don't respect, they're going to lose a card. Next, we have a reprint of Yellow Chokeslam, Yellow Disable. We have Yellow Crashdown, which we already talked about. Yellow Earthfall Empowerment, really good. We have Blue Boulder Drop, a reprint of Blue Chokeslam, a reprint of Cranial Crush, which I think this might be the cheapest Guardian Majestic that is from the original set, but Blue Cranial Crush still not bad for another Majestic. And we have a reprint of Blue Disable. If you'll notice, we talked about a little less cards for the Guardian deck, and that's because it comes with a 12 copies of Chivalry. Chivalry is just the Guardian's new block card. It is a 3-block blue with Protect, so you can use it to block any hero, pretty much giving you that might token that you want from your hero, and then you can obviously pitch them to swing with the Hammer of Havenhold for +1. This deck comes with 12 of them, so only 14 actual cards at 2 of each, but still for the Guardian deck, the Chivalry, I think Chivalry is a really good card. I think, in all honesty, I could see a world where Guardian players play Chivalry in their Classic Constructed decks, and I am not joking. I am being completely serious. Even though it doesn't have a cost for like Titan's Fist, this card is a blue. It blocks 3. And if you're playing against like Assassin, they don't have a dagger that can shrink it. Really good there. It's a block 3, so since you're blocking with all your cards, doesn't matter anyway. That's really all the boxes check, to be honest. It doesn't need to be an attack, just be a blue block 3. And it's good enough. And that's what this card is. So, great. I think they actually might have enough slots, though, with Boulder Drop filling it. So possibly no on the Chivalry, but I think there definitely could be a world where it does see play. I think, in all, I'm going to give this deck... I didn't rate the mech deck, so I'm just going to say... I think this deck's a little worse than the Mechanologist deck, but it has better cards printed for Constructed. Like, I could see Colossal Bearing seeing play. I could see Earthlore Empowerment seeing play. I could see Crashdown seeing play. I could have Boulder Drop seeing play. The only things I wish were in the deck are the blue Earthlore Empowerment and the blue Crashdown. I think it's fine that all the towers are only red. I think they really only make sense in red. I like the addition of the blue Boulder Drop as well as the yellow Boulder Drop. But I really just wish that the blue Crashdown and Earthlore were in the deck. But I think it's okay that they're not, because they might be the strongest. If they had the blues, they might have been the strongest cards there. Just a 3 for +3 next turn and a Seismic Surge might be a little too strong. But in all, I really like the Guardian deck. This has the best constructed playable cards. It has the most Civic Steps, Colossal Bearing, Earthlore Empowerment, Boulder Drop, Chivalry. Good reprints too. Cranial Crush is a good reprint. The Disables, I think, are a nice reprint, same as the Choke Slams. So, good deck and all. I think this one is probably my second favorite of them, mainly because Ninja's here, and I just like playing Ninja. But I really do like this Guardian list. And keep an eye on this one for PvE, because I think this will be one of the strongest PvE heroes that we'll have. Moving on to our third deck, we have Bard with Melody Sing-Along. Melody is a 4 intellect, 20 health Bard hero young. She has the ability, when you play a song, create copper tokens equal to the number of other heroes in the game. This is the first actually playable Bard hero. Another hero that really helps with the UPF multiplayer idea, which, I mean, that's what these decks are designed for. Oh, Group Hug. That's what I was thinking with the Guardian. That's like a protection group hug. This is an actual group hug hero. You want to be giving everyone support while giving yourself a bunch of copper tokens to kind of get your game plan through. Melody's weapon, Jinglewood Smash Hit, is a 2-cost bard or 2-power bard weapon. It's a 2-handed fiddle. Once per turn, you can pay 3 resource to give target opposing hero chooses a might, quicken, or vigor, and then you create a copper, and then it just go again. So you give them the choice of +1 power, +1 resource, or go again, but you get the copper, and that's the important thing. And then late, you can also swing at it for 2, and if it actually hits your opponent, you destroy it. So probably don't do that one, but could end out a game pretty funnily. Is that even a word? Could end out a game with this, even though it's probably not going to happen most of the time. You got your new bard equipment. Nom de Plume gives each hero a card draw and go again. Heartthrob gives each hero a vigor and go again. Fiddle D gives each hero a might and go again. And Quickstep gives each hero a quicken and go again. I think the shoes and the head will be more important when we look at Bard's main game plan. But the vigor and the might aren't too bad either. I'm pretty sure, let me just check real quick. Yeah, vigor is at the start of the turn. Oh, might is at the start of the turn. So it's not like a courage token. It is at the start of the turn, their next attack gets +1. So you'll want to use your chest and your gloves the turn before you go off, but you can use the helmet and the shoes the turn you do go off and try to win the game. Since this is probably going to be similar to a combo deck if you really think about it when we look at one of the cards here. So starting with the actual the equipment I think are good. I don't think they're bad for Bard. I think the head and the shoes are definitely the 2 best ones. You'll probably swap the gloves and the chest probably for like tunic and some glove. I don't know. Okay, to the cards. We have a reprint of Coax a Commotion. We have a reprint of Life of the Party Red. We have a new card, Final Act. This is your main win con. So Final Act is a 1-cost red with 1 power and 3 block. It is a Bard action. It says, when this attacks, it gets +X, where X is twice the number of cards in all pitch zones. How do you get a bunch of cards in pitch zones? Well, you want to make a metric ton of copper tokens. So later, this deck has a ton of blues. You can just pitch all your blues down, keep drawing cards, and then eventually swing with a Final Act into another Final Act into maybe even a third Final Act if you can set it up somehow. And just like hit all your opponents down at once. And it's a UPF game, so people are going to be losing life throughout the whole game. So I do really like Final Act. I think is a really cool card. We have a new card called Interlude. This is a 0-cost instant. You choose a hero, and the next time they will be dealt damage, you prevent 3 of it. If you prevented it from another hero, you make a copper token. Good copper generator that can also protect you. We have a reprint of Sigil of Solace. Pretty good. We have a new card, Crowd Control. This is the Bard block. It is a sink below stat line of 4 at red, 3 at yellow, 2 at blue. And says, when this defends, you may pay 3 resource. If you do, it gets +1 for each opposing hero. Not going to be too good if we ever get a constructed Bard, or if you play Bard in 1v1. Oh, I guess it's okay, because they're at red, because it is a 0 block 4. But this effect really shines in UPF. Next is another new card, Encore. This is a really good way to get more of your final acts. It lets you put a Bard attack from your discard pile into your hand for 1. So you can use this to get a Final Act back and then swing at the Final Act again. So really good. Pretty much gives you 2 extra copies of Final Act, since it is the only Bard attack action in the deck. So it's the actual only target. We have yellow Interlude and yellow Crowd Control. We have a bunch of songs. Songs are what you need to play to get your copper from your hero. Pretty much they all have a symmetrical effect. Song of Jack Be Quiet gives each other hero a quicken token. Song of Sweet Nectar gives each other hero +1 life. Song of the Rosen Matador gives each other hero a vigor token. Song of the Shining Knight is a might token. Song of the Wandering Mind is a card draw. And Song of Yesteryears has them put an attack from their graveyard on the bottom of their deck. So a lot of these are kind of nice. Obviously only going to be good in UPF, but they're all here to give you a bunch of copper and try to make the opponents not want to hit you because you're being so nice to them. We have a reprint. Also, all of them are blue and block 3 at all cost 0. We have a reprint of Crazy Brew for your Life the Parties. We have a reprint of Energy Potion, of Healing Potion, of Potion of Strength, and of Time Snap Potion, just for your combo. Again, E-Pots give you more resource if you need them. Healing Potions give you free life. Potion of Strength pump your next attack. Time Snap Potions give you extra action points. And also, none of the songs have Go Again, so Time Snap could be nice if you have a double song turn. We have a blue Interlude and a blue Crowd Control as the last 2 cards in the deck. Honestly, the Bard deck is my least favorite. I think it does have some nice reprints. The Potion Suite is pretty nice. So is the Sigil of Solace reprint, as well as Final Act and Coax. I wish this deck maybe had a Knick-Knack Brick-a-Whack in it, so you could tutor out some of your potions with coppers. But other than that, I think this deck is perfectly fine for what Bard wants to be doing, which is helping out all the other players. Again, I think this will be a perfect PvE hero whenever we get PvE. Just, I don't know how sound it will be inside of an Ultimate Pit Fight game. You're probably not going to get swung down too early, as well as if you do, you have a lot of nice defensive options, since all of your songs block 3 and you have crowd control with a lot of blues to pay for them. So you'll definitely get into the late game if you're playing UPF, but we just have to see how consistently you can land off the combo with Final Act, because that's really the only way I could see really winning a game with Bard. Finally, we have the last of the 4 decks, Ira Crimson Haze. We all know what she does. I don't need to read her. She's basic enough. She comes with Edge of Autumn, Rainbow Foil, because it's not a new weapon. Let's get to the new cards. I'm a Ninja player. If you guys have watched a few of my videos, I make a Phi deck every set. This set, we're trying for Tiger Phi. I couldn't start testing it yet because you can't queue them against randoms, and I haven't had time to test my playgroup, but I think it's still pretty good. I will definitely have to test it, though, sometime, I guess within the next month, because we have the next few videos kind of laid out, since probably next we'll start the set reviews. But for now, let's take a look at some of these brand new Ninja cards, starting with a commoner staple, Mask of 3 Tails. This lets you draw a card if you've hit 3 or more times in a combat chain if you destroy it. You can't play Mask of Momentum or Pouncing Lynx in commoner. Guess what you can play? Mask of 3 Tails. Finally, Ninja is playable in commoner. Ninja feels so bad in commoner just because you don't have like a mask that can give you card advantage. Like, the whole idea of Ninja helmets is to give you card advantage, and they just didn't have one in commoner. Katsu could play Mask of Many Faces, but Benji was kind of out of luck, and Fi, I guess, didn't really need one, but this will definitely help all four ninjas in Commoner. Ira didn't need it, but this will definitely help everyone out in Commoner if you're a ninja for that one bigger burst turn, because Commoner is kind of the big burst turn, kind of like Blitz. Next is Blood Scent. This is a brand new chess piece. It is Battle Worn with 1 block. The remaining 3 equipment will have Battle Worn with 1 block, so we won't be reading that. Blood Scent lets you destroy it to gain a resource, only if you've played a Crouching Tiger this turn. Really good, fits the Crouching Tiger theme. Lets you easily pay for some of your cards. Tearing Shuko is a reprint, but it fits the same theming of does something at instant speed with tigers, and it is 1 block Battle Worn. And then Pouncing Paws. I know I said I wouldn't read his 1 block Battle Worn, but I ended up doing it. This is 1 block Battle Worn. It is the instant to destroy it and make a tiger in your banish zone. And you may play it this turn. This is the card that kind of pushes the idea of Tiger Fi. This and one other. Since this is a consistent way to gain an extra tiger, so it just lets you extend your combat chain for free randomly if you have a pump. So you can like proc mask and such, or work well with Tiger Swipe. So Pouncing Paws is really, really good. And I think you will definitely see it in a lot of decks going forward. I could see this maybe in Benji. You probably still want Breeze Rider boots in Benji, but if we ever get enough natural go again that he can play, you'll probably see this. I'm sure you'll see this in Tiger Katsu. That's pretty obvious. I think we'll start seeing it in some Fi lists that aren't playing stuff like Snatch, because you can't snap it anymore. So you're not playing it because you're playing this, so you can have an extended chain instead of the go again. And I'm sure Ira will play it at some point, because I think this card is just like generally good. It just gives you an extra attack. That's the big thing here. Next we have a sort of reprint, but we have Red Bittering Thorns. This card was only printed at yellow prior. We now have it at red. So it's a 1-for-4 that when it hits, you give your next attack +1. Pretty good. We have a reprint of Red Flex Claws, of Red Flying Kick. We have a new card called Growl. Growl is a 0-cost red 3-power 2-block. It is a ninja attack. It says, when this attacks, the next Crouching Tiger you play this combat chain gets +1. Perfect for tigers. You can start with this, go into a tiger combo card, and just kind of make your turns work out from there. We have Leg Tap reprint at red. We have a new card, Mauling Key. Mauling Key is a 1-cost 5-power 3-block. It is combo. When this hits, if Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, you do 1 to each opposing hero. UPF cards, baby. I don't think this will see much play in Constructed, but a decent card, I guess. We have a reprint of Red Pouncing Key, a reprint of Red Key Unbound, a reprint of Red Blessing of Key. We have a reprint of Yellow Bittering Thorns, Yellow Flex Claws. We have Yellow Growl, Yellow Leg Tap, Yellow Salt the Wound, Yellow Predatory Strike. I don't know why they didn't put the red one in this deck, to be honest, but we have the yellow one. And then we have another new card, Tiger Eye Reflex. I don't know where Red Tiger Eye Reflex is. I hope Red Tiger Eye Reflex is in this deck, because at red, this card is actually really good. So we'll read the yellow one because I don't see the red one on here. So Tiger Eye Reflex at yellow is a 3-block ninja block. At blue it's 2, at red it should be 4. It has Ambush. Ambush is a new keyword that pretty much just this card is a defense reaction. You can block with it from your arsenal. Sort of like Down and Dirty. Down and Dirty has Ambush, pretty much. When this defends, you create a Crouching Tiger in your banish zone, and you may play it during your next turn. At red, this card's insane. I think it's better than Sink Below because you get a consistent crouching. In some situations, it's better than Sink Below because you get a Tiger that you can play on your next turn, good with a pump if you have one. Great arsenal. At red, it can block. It's a block. It can block things that can't be dereacted, like CNC. You can use this to block a CNC and then just get a Tiger for next turn. So really good arsenal. I don't know where the red is. I thought there was room. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I think there's a card missing. It's 8. No, there's not. Okay. So no red for some reason. That sucks. But, oh well. I guess we end up playing the yellow because they don't have costs, so you can't pitch them Kodachis. But it kind of feels bad that we don't have the red. But I think the yellow is still playable. It's still a good arsenal. It gives us a Tiger we can play next turn. Think of this sort of similar to the new Shadow Reckless Swing that Lavaya got. Even though that card isn't really that good, it still lets you play the card you banished. So it's fine. This is a little better, I would say, because you do get the Tiger to just swing in next turn. If you have a pump, it's good. If you have other Tiger synergies, it's good. This card we'll probably see play. We have a reprint of Blue Flying Kick, Blue Blessing of Chi, Blue Predatory Strike, and then the Blue Tiger Eye Reflex. So, in all, I do like this Ninja deck. I can't wait for it to come out so I can get the Pouncing Claws, the Mask, the Growls, and then the Tiger Eye Reflexes. I also actually read Bittering Thorns too, because at red, this card does seem really good. I wish red Tiger Eye Reflex was in the deck. That's the only gripe I have, is just the red Tiger Eye Reflex. This deck is more based on having a few Tigers to like throw in between than pumping them all up. For like for Salt the Wound, you want them to do at least 1 damage, right? But sometimes you'll be throwing them for 0 for like a Flying Kick or something. Although I guess like if you lead with say like Flex Claws, if it hits, you can come in for 1 with Ira, and then you can like Bittering Thorns. If that hits, you can break Pouncing Claws to come in with that one for 1, and then come in with like a Pouncing Chi into like Assault the Wound, something like that maybe, to get your Tigers pumped. But I think there are definitely some situations where you could just end up throwing a Tiger for 0 to just like tick up a Flying Kick or be the first attack to get your next thing pumped by Ira or something. Although I guess in that sense you could edge and then swing at the Tiger. But I think it's a sound deck. Again, I just wish we had the red Tiger Eye Reflex. That's really it. This is my favorite of the 4 decks, even though it's the only one that doesn't have a brand new hero. It's just probably because I like Ninja so much. It's one of the most fun classes, in my opinion. Finally, there are some tokens here that I'm just going to talk about real quick. Copper for the Bard deck, Crouching Tiger for this deck, Mites for the Bard deck and for the Guardian deck, and then Quickens and Vigor for the Bard deck. So most of these are for Bard, some of them are for Guardian and Ninja, but that's going to be it for the last deck list. Let's just go over to the outro. So that's going to be it for the Round the Table review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Next week, we're probably going to be going into the reviews for Bright Lights. The week after, we'll be going and looking at the Phi list I've been cooking up. We're going to hope Tiger Phi pans out to be pretty decent so I can make a video on it. And then after that, we'll be looking at the 3 brand new heroes for Bright Lights. Theoretically 3, I think, because there's like 2 slots that don't have anything that are like in between the heroes, so those could be new heroes. I don't know, probably not, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We still got the whole set to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed. we have the videos for the next few months planned out. And I'll see you in the next one when we take a look at the part 1 of the set review. See you then.